At the beginning of chapter 1 is listed the principles of miracles. We're almost done. Today, I'm going over numbers 44, 45, and 46. So, number 44 says, the miracle is an expression of an inner awareness of Christ and the acceptance of his atonement. Okay, so what is a miracle? Because this is called A Course in Miracles. A miracle is when you are understanding that you are not your ego, you are not your body, and you are actually spirit. Well, what does Christ have to do with this? Well, Christ is the energy or the spirit of all that exists. We are all connected. We are all one. We are all the child of God, or as the Course calls it, the Son of God. Okay, so that is Christ, not just one man who came here 2,000 years ago, not just that, all of us, we are all Christ. We are all the Son of God. So the miracle is an expression of an inner awareness that you are that. An inner expression of an awareness that you are not an ego, you are not a body, you are not separate, but you are one with all that is. That is Christ. That is the miracle, knowing that. And the acceptance of his atonement, it says. So his atonement is just another way of saying his love, his awareness, his knowledge, the oneness, the knowingness of who and what we really are. The atonement is accepting that. The atonement is understanding that. Okay, number 45 says, a miracle is never lost. It may touch many people you have not even met and produce undreamed of changes in situations of which you are not even aware. So a miracle is never lost. There is no such thing as time. There is only this now moment, what we call the holy instant, okay? It becomes holy an instant when you remember truth, when you remember that you are one with everyone and everything, that you are one with God. That's a holy instant. So a miracle is never lost because experiencing a miracle is a holy instant. Experiencing a miracle is a moment that you remember truth. And when you do that, because all minds are connected, because we are all one, it's never lost. The beauty, the magic, the gift that is given in that moment of the miracle is never lost. There is no such thing as time. There's only the now. So when you remember who and what you really are, unconsciously, you are helping everyone to remember who and what they really are, even people you've never met. So that's never met in your body form. So that's why it says it may touch many people you have not even met and produce undreamed of changes in situations of which you are not even aware. Meaning that when you have a miracle, meaning you remember who and what you really are, that means you have a moment of truth, a moment of understanding clearly what is true and what is real. And when you do that, because all minds are connected, you help others understand, even though they're not aware of it. And because you have that effect on other minds in that moment, that creates changes in their lives that you never even know about. Because in form, in bodily form, it's not possible for us to know everyone and know everyone's lives and know the details of everything that's happening with everyone. But in your mind, where unconsciously we are all connected, you don't need to know. You don't need to be thinking about it consciously. All you need to do is to remember the truth, remember the miracle. And then by doing that, you are helping everybody. You know, so many of us light workers out there really want to know, what's my purpose? What's my job? What am I supposed to be doing on the earth to help people wake up? This, what the Course is teaching us, is literally the most powerful thing that you can do to help people wake up. And it's not even about talking to people. It's not even about making videos like this that I'm making. It's not even about telling anyone with your words, with your body. It's about your mind. It's about changing the way you see things, the way that you see the world that isn't even here, the illusory world. It's about changing your perspective and choosing the teacher of the Holy Spirit instead of the teacher of the ego. One of my favorite ways to do this, I was just doing it this morning when I was on a morning walk, because it's so easy for us to be in our ego minds and see things from that perspective. That's our habit. That's our normal go-to place to be able to experience the world. But when we take the time to remember, and so here's one of my favorite exercises. I look around and I see all the spaces in between the separate things that I think that I see. This tree, this bush, this fireplace, this chair, this cat, whatever, this person, this flower, no matter what it is, they all seem like seemingly different things, separate. But then I start to pay attention to the space in between, what we would call air. When I focus on the space in between, it helps me remember how we're all connected, how the space in between is what's real and not the seemingly separate things. And then when I focus on the space in between, I can feel the oneness. I can feel how it's all connected. And in those moments, it's a perfect opportunity to remember who and what we all really are. And as soon as I remember that, not only does it make me feel wonderful, but it immediately sends out a message throughout the one unconscious mind. There's only one of us. There's only one ego. It sends a message out to our one unconscious mind that we are not ego. We are not our bodies, that we are truly spirit, and we are truly connected, and we are truly loved by one another and by God, creation, source. That is our real truth. Okay, so number 46 says, the Holy Spirit is the highest communication medium. Miracles do not involve this type of communication because they are temporary communication devices. When you return to your original form of communication with God by direct revelation, the need for miracles is over. All right, what does all this mean? The Holy Spirit is the highest communication medium, okay? That's our goal. We want to connect with Holy Spirit. That's our self, our true self inside of us that is connected with God, who knows who and what it really is. This is what we are looking to achieve, to have that direct communication with Holy Spirit. We want to channel Holy Spirit through us, and Holy Spirit is just us. It's our higher self. It's the self that knows who and what we really are. So that's the ultimate. Okay, that's the highest communication medium, is communicating with Holy Spirit. Miracles do not involve this type of communication. That can be confusing. You're like, wait a minute. What do you mean? Well, what that means is that miracles are temporary, as it tells us right after that comma, because they are temporary communication devices. Sorry about the plane. Hold on. Can't even see it. It's so cloudy today. I can only hear it very loudly. Okay, so miracles are temporary because they are just a tool for us to use here in this illusory world. Miracles are like a little band-aid for us to use to heal while we think we're ego, while we identify with being here in this illusory world as an ego. It's a little band-aid to help us heal, a little reminder each time we can remember what the truth is, okay? So the miracle is just a tool for us to use when we're lost within the illusory world, when we're lost within our ego. But once we exit that, and we are in full communication with Holy Spirit at all times, we no longer see the illusory world. We no longer experience the illusory world. And therefore, we no longer need the band-aid of miracles, because we don't need to keep remembering the truth, because we know the truth at all times. That's what it means when you are in that highest form of communication with Holy Spirit at all times. You're no longer forgetting. Okay, that's the ultimate goal of this. That is enlightenment. That is what we are looking to achieve by practicing the Course, by having our mind completely exit the perspective of the ego and completely, always 100% take on the perspective of Holy Spirit. It's a lifelong goal. It's something that takes many, many years of practice. Now, in theory, it can be done in an instant. In theory, we could accomplish this instantaneously, but most of us are not, and that's okay. It took us a long time to go down this rabbit hole of this dream illusory world that we think we're in. So we have to give ourselves at least, a fraction of that amount of time to wake ourselves up out of it. So don't be hard on yourself if you can't remember all the time. Don't give yourself more guilt. It's the guilt that we experience that keeps us locked into the ego, that keeps us locked into the illusory world of separateness and of attack and of sickness and of dying. That's not the real world. So that's the goal. We use miracles as a temporary tool to help us remember until we no longer need that temporary tool. So it says, when you return to your original form of communication with God by direct revelation, the need for miracles is over. So those fancy words mean when you become enlightened, when you become one with God. And it doesn't mean you have to die. It doesn't mean that you can't exist here anymore. It means that you can exist in the world, but not be of the world, just like Jesus did. That's what he was trying to teach when he was here over 2,000 years ago. Jesus was a pretty cool dude. He was a badass. He was a rebel. He was out learning many types of spirituality in the world throughout his lifetime. And he began to understand from a very early age that we were all one, and that this world was an illusion, and that his body was illusion. And that's why he knew eventually how to perform miracles, okay? It just means that he pulled back the veil. And he said, I am capable of doing these things because I know I'm not a body. And he was trying to teach everyone else that too, okay? That's why he was killed within the illusory world, within our dream world, within our history. That's why he was killed, because the powers that be at the time did not want people knowing that they were God, that God was within them, and that they had the power to do whatever they chose to do. And they did not need to be listening to religions and things like that. At the time, Judaism and, Roman polytheism were in control. And, we're in a very similar situation today within our illusory dream world. We have a lot of things that appear to be outside of us that tell us that we are not powerful, and that we should be fearful, and that we should be listening to authority figures out there in our dream world. And what the Course is always teaching us is that the truth is within us. The power is within us. God is within us. Even Jesus, even Christ is within us. We are all one. We are all God, and we are all love.